King David was handpicked by God to lead Israel. He was a powerful and popular king, and he was a good man. But David, like every single one of us, was not perfect. And after today's story, you might wonder how the Bible could call him a man after God's own heart. Here, let's read the story together in 2 Samuel chapter 11. It happened late one afternoon, when David rose from his couch and was walking about on the roof of the king's house, that he saw from the roof a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful. David sent someone to inquire about the woman. It was reported, "This is Bathsheba, wife of Uriah." So David sent messengers to get her, and she came to him, and he lay with her. Now, just so you understand the scene, many homes in this period had flat-top roofs where people would hang out. And David probably had some sort of covered patio suite where he could take a nap and enjoy the afternoon breeze. And as king, he probably could look down on the other homes surrounding him. His palace was probably bigger. And he could see right into their courtyards where bathing often took place. And on this particular day, Bathsheba caught his eye, and he sent messengers to get her. Hey, does that sound familiar to any recent political figures? I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. That was back in the Arkansas days, of course. All right, we get to our first lesson, though, from this story. Lesson 1, temptation isn't always predictable. Most of us would agree that it's best to avoid situations of obvious temptation. You know, don't go to Vegas if you have a gambling problem. But let's be honest, sometimes you can't avoid temptation. You can run, but you can't hide. And in this case, David may have been just innocently walking around on the top of his roof when all of a sudden he sees this beautiful woman through no fault of his own. Now, it's often assumed that Bathsheba was naked. Many painters over the centuries have depicted her this way. But the Bible doesn't say that. She may have just been washing her hands and face. We don't know. Either way, this serves as a reminder that the opposite sex, regardless of what they're doing or wearing or not wearing, can lead to lustful thoughts. So, of course, don't take the job that requires out-of-town travel if you struggle with pornography or infidelity. And don't take the job that there's a lot of pressure to cave on ethics if your ethics are kind of shaky. And by all means, stay away from activities that cause you to act unadmirably. I remember a few years ago, I had to ban watching the Saints on TV, football games, because I used to get so angry during the games. Jesus said, if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. But again, realize you can't always eliminate temptation. We often need God's help to resist or to flee temptation, even when we weren't doing anything wrong. Now, lesson 2 is success is hazardous to your health. I had a professor who was a psychologist, and he said that powerful and successful people often lose what he calls impulse control. They think they can have, or that they even deserve, anything that they want, that the normal rules don't apply to them. And it's not just the high and mighty who think this way. Even people with modest levels of success can display this behavior. No wonder the Bible says, a man is tested by the praise he receives. You see, King David had at least 7 wives and many more concubines, according to the Bible. He was not lacking for partners. But then he decides to go after a married woman, which is clearly forbidden under Jewish law. I don't understand. Did he really think that he could have whatever he wanted? That the king shouldn't be denied anything? Or maybe it wasn't that at all. Maybe you're just never satisfied with what you have. You always want more. I don't know what it was, but he committed adultery. And he may have gotten away with it, except that Bathsheba became pregnant. Now here's the deal. Bathsheba's husband, Uriah, is away fighting in the war. And David immediately calls him back from the battlefield. He acts like he wants to know how the war is going. But in verse 8, he reveals his true motive. Go down to your house and wash your feet, he tells Uriah. That means have sex with your wife. It was a euphemism for intercourse. It'd be like saying today, actually, I won't go there. The point is, if Uriah slept with his wife, everyone would assume that Uriah was the father of the baby. There's just one problem. Uriah wouldn't do it. Soldiers in war weren't supposed to have sexual relations. And so what does David do as his commander-in-chief? Instead of applauding this honorable behavior, he tried to get him drunk. David knows that alcohol impairs judgment. It causes you to do things you would never do if you were sober. And that's another quick but important reminder for us today as well. Unfortunately for David, Uriah still doesn't cave. And so now a panicking king sends Uriah back to the war zone and instructs his commander to make sure that he is killed in battle. And even worse, we'll learn that other innocent soldiers were killed in this cover-up. And it seems that the compassionate king was there to comfort the grieving widow. What a guy. They soon fell in love and got married. And then a little baby boy was quickly born, but nobody seemed to question anything. David, it seemed, had pulled off the perfect cover-up.